Hey guys, so now in this video, I'm going to talk to you about my tournament report for the One Piece card game North American Finals held at Bandai Card Game Fest. So, let's get to it. Alright, so it was a 10-round event. It had roughly about 948 players. That is the amount that it came up to after I did the math, doing the pairings and doubling it by 2. So it was a 10-round event. Unfortunately, it got cut short out of 11, and they went to top 64 the next day. Unfortunately, spoiler, I did not make top 64, and I ended up with a record of 7-3 playing Whitebeard, mostly the Rush variant. So I'm going to show the deck in this picture right here. Hey guys, so this is future me here. I actually goofed up on that video because I actually wanted to make a reasoning as to why I played each card. So I'm going to go through the list. All right, so let's run you through the deck list and my reasonings why for each card. So starting off, we're going to have for Nami, very important card in the deck. It's going to get you everything. It's going to get you your events, your 2Ks, your rushers, and your Robin. So this gets you your Rad Beams, your guard points, your bad manners, your Zoro, Sanji, your Luffy, your Robin. So very important card. After that, we're going to have 3 Isos, and Iso is going to be for getting your Whitebeard Pirates cards. I reduced it to 3 because I'm playing way less compared to the Straw Hats. So basically, I just wanted to get the most probability of getting a 1-drop searcher, because the way that I was playing my match against Sakazuki is that I wanted to see a 2K attacker turn 1. So turn 2, I could put my Dawn into it and swing with that and swing with Whitebeard, because it's going to get popped. So why not attack with it, right? After that, we had Makino, which was a very clutch card for Makinos. And this was a very good defensive card. This card allowed me to win games, both defense and offense, whereas I played Makino by itself into a 1-drop character and swing for game for 8K, or put onto Dawn and I swing for 10K for game. Also, it was, I would counter with 2K and that was enough. So very important card. It can help you go for game. It can help you defend yourself when you get all in. After that, only 2 Otamas. I didn't really get to play the on-play effect with it, really. I didn't really see a need for it. So probably it was a good call to pull it at 3, because it's still good to have a 2K. It is a very situational card, so that's why I would have rather kept this other than a Jinbe or Brook or Luffy, because I did see that some of the topping list for the finals did have the 2K Jinbe. After that, it's going to be 2 Robin, and very good card against Sakazuki, because it can get rid of your, or even, I believe it's against even your Brule or your Boas and whatever, it can kill them off. So very important card. Unfortunately, I didn't come into a circumstance where I needed it. I always ended up playing it, which is crazy, I think. Sorry. Yeah, but I played it because I wanted the attacker on turn 1. Other than that, it was counter for me. After that, it's going to be your 4 Sanji. And the Sanji, again, searchable by Nami, and 2K card. Didn't really play it for the life effect because my life was going away pretty fast and I wanted to keep it. And I didn't really play against Anami or Katakuri to get effect of it. Then I played 2 Zoro, and with Zoro, really clutch card because there's times where you don't really need the unblockable effect using a rusher. And this helped with my philosophy of always attacking every turn to applying that extra pressure. So whenever the Nami was out, boom, played Zoro, swing for 7, or like when going in for game, play everything out, play Zoro at the end, so very strong card. Especially when you can also pair it off and combo it with Zoro and Makino, or Iso with Iso and Nami with Makino. So it is just enough done to complement your board and also give 2 more surprise attacks at the end. After that, it is 4 Josu, and great 2K counter, searchable. I didn't really get to use the rush effect, although I did potentially wanted to try it on one of my games that I won against Sakazuki, because I wanted to go in and rush right away. But I believe this was the game where I ended up going for the Nami combo instead, the Makino combo instead, and it won't be at that. So it all worked out eventually. 2 Blocker Marco, and this is a card I hardly ever played because when I played it, it didn't stay on the board, and I didn't really play anything other than Sakazuki, so it's like, well, damn. Uh, so I never, I don't fully recall. I think I might have been a Mario at one point, or guarded and it popped off. But more than not, I use it as 2K as a 1K counter. Then we're playing 3 5 drop Marco, and this was kind of a clutch card because it was a way to set up tempo for killing brand new or killing off the Rebecca. Not always had a rusher in hand, so getting that put in there, they'll help me put a body on board, and sometimes they just didn't have a way to get rid of it, so it stayed on board for one attack, and it was really good against anything other than Sakazuki. So, like, this is one of the reasons why I won against Rosinante, because I pop stuff with the Marco, the killer, the Rosinante, whichever. 3 rush Luffy, and again, very important card. This card gets you through all the blockers, and it's also a great rusher. So, as crazy as it sounds, there's been times like I never really held it in my hand unless I had doubles or I knew I needed to use that, because, like, an example, or actually no, I didn't have the opportunity to get to use it, because every time where I had no characters, boom, I play Rush Luffy. Even though if it's a 5 or a 7 Dawn move, I will play it because I want to get that attack in and apply that extra pressure. Especially knowing that I gambled on the fact that I might see another 2, and I didn't. It actually did pay off because it managed to take cards out of their hands, so it worked out. I didn't really need to have an unblockable Luffy for game moment. It came close on my 8th round, I believe, or 9th, where search notes. Yeah, on my 7th round, where I let him all in me for Sabo for 16k, and I guarded everything out. And he said he would have played 2 of his blockers in hand and in turn, but my top deck would have been a Rush Luffy, so I would have won via that. After that, I'm playing 3 Rush Sanji, and there's something I play a lot on the sim, but I didn't really get to play it in person. I was more or less always going for Zoro or Luffy, putting Dawn on Nami and Iso. And this was mostly reserved for like a 1K counter most of the time, or it got actually discarded by blocker law. Then 3 aces, and ace, very clutch card. It gets you a lot of tempo. It makes people be scared of attacking with my upcoming 7 down turn. And a lot of people fully expected that to happen, but I usually always never played it on 7 because it was like I knew they knew kind of thing. So I will be playing Zoro. I'll be playing Dawn on my other character. I will be doing a different sequence that they expected. And then, well, they can't hold off any longer, so they have to attack. So on the 9 or the 10 Dawn turn, I would do it on them. And then, I will clear the board. This actually is to, on top of that, this is the reason why I won against my Rosinante player opponent, because without getting ace back to back, I wouldn't have been able to poke at it enough times to reduce his hand to 0. So the 2 aces saved my life on that round. Then 2 new gates, and this is a decision I made like the week before, that I wanted to reduce new gates to 2 because I felt like it doesn't stay on the board long enough, and provided the matches that I get, I still want to see Newgate in some games. Yeah, I kind of curry. So this is something that I made like a compromise to keep it at 2, because it's better than just the 1 like you get in the good old days when he was limited to 1. And, it's so searchable. And if I don't see it, I'll be seeing aces and Luffy's and whatever. So I didn't really miss seeing the card. There'd be times where I actually bottom decked it, but I still won. Matter of fact, the round where I ended up winning after he all-in me and I guarded out, or he would have played 2 blockers and I would have top deck Rush Luffy, I actually whiffed 3 times with Nami and Iso, and my bottom decks were Rat Beams and New Gates, and I ended up still winning. So I got lucky with that. Then it's going to be the 1 Bad Manners, and that's going to be something that I will play on my 9 or 7 Dawn turn, because I'm playing an ace on curve and I'm playing a New Gate on curve, and they think, oh, you're gonna use your counter. No, I'm gonna play this instead, because now when they're doing the math on cards, they don't expect me to have a 3K counter when I only have no Octodon. So it was a nice little surprise factor, and also never really I got the chance to do the trigger, but I did get a chance to use the the rat beam trigger though, actually, because I needed to finish a sequence before he all in me. Then I got four guard point because I like maximum protection. And this was pretty clutch because there'd be times where I was still too high on life to get the full effect of rat beam. There's times where I feel like guarding for 8 with rat beam is wasteful. There's times where I'll be bottoming the wrong cards, and this was here, and it helped me the most. So seeing the duo of 4 rat beam, 4 guard point was really, really clutch. These cards are ultimately what made me win almost every game because my opponent will all in me. I will play a rat beam, that's 10. I will play another rat beam or guard point and some combination of 2K counters, and I would survive out the attack via their Sabo, Borsalino, 8-drop kit, and so on. So these 4 events were the most important events out of all of them, which is pretty much all of them, so yeah, my mentality for the matches were play my searcher right away, mulligan for it, so have at least 1 searcher immediately on turn 2. I will be putting all my Dawn into it, swing it, and doing leader. I would always play a Sorrel whenever I could. Save the Makino till the end, try and go for game. I would also not really play the Marco blocker. There wasn't really many good opportunities to use it, unfortunately. And then I kind of wanted to try and play the rusher. And now that I see this, I realize I didn't play my Judge Stamp one. I'm sad. Then this Marco, it was iffy. I didn't really get to use much of it, unfortunately, but I played it because I can sack events that I don't need or I don't have a done for. So it was still a good thing to have on board to retain pressure. The rushers, immense. These guys are won me games. Having that immediate impact on the game is, I think, the philosophy that should have been used at this event, where Sakazuki is there every turn, get him rid of your board. So having to leave a character defenseless for 1 turn kind of sucks, and it will make you waste your time. So having the opportunity to play a card, attack, make him take 1, 2 cards or their life was very important. My Newgate, of course, very big. When he stayed in, he was demolishing everything. But overall, I was very content with the build I had. Only thing I would really take out of this deck is the Marcos. I may play more counter. Unfortunately, now that I see there's a rise on Red Purple Luffy, thanks to the top 4 finalists, I think I'm going to have to change the deck list a little bit to cater more towards that, because I think we're going to see a rise in those players. So yeah, we're going to see a rise in purple, I think. And purple is a really hard match for Whitebeard because blocker low, the Booster Kid, RP Luffy is basically Whitebeard. It can play 3 swings in 1 10-down turn. When they play, it's all their swings, then play the Gear 5 Luffy, then do the leader swing, then Gear 5 Luffy, then leader swing. So it's a really hard match for Whitebeard to play, I guess. And so there's 60 other decks to play, and there's 8 to 9, 10 rounds. So maybe you get lucky, you don't see those matches. I personally didn't see an L. I saw it technically twice. So, it's all about RNG, how you see, what cards you see, what cards they see. So, yeah, overall, very happy with this deck and this build. And I'm glad I went X3 with it. And I'm going to put it back to past me talking about the video. And then I'm going to go over the matches. So, for the matches, we played with all the non-round invite people. So I played against Purple Luffy in the first round. That was a really hard round, I would say, mentally, because it was actually a rematch that I had with a player that I played back in Pasadena, the big one. It was my Green Purple Dofi against his Rebecca. And it was a fun match. It was fun seeing him again and having that match once more, between players, not the decks, obviously, because I was playing Whiteberry, he was playing Purple Luffy. I ended up winning that one because I just went full aggro before you could establish board, and I made him bait out so many cards that when it got to the end, and I was trying to go for lethal. I went like, I forget the exact sequence, but it was like 7 7 7 something, and like I felt like I needed to go because I didn't have the counter to survive another attack. So when you know what, okay, I'm gonna go Makino boost. I forget exactly if it was Nami or Iso, but it's the 2K searcher, and so that's already 8,000, plus 3, 5, plus 3, 8, and I swung 8,000 for Makino or Iso. And unfortunately for him, he didn't have the counter enough. I think his hand was he had Polly and an ulti and something else, like something non-counter. So because of that, he didn't have enough counter, and I won that game. Round two, it was against a Sakazuki, and this match set the pace for my tournament, I think, because to me, I started playing yellow at the beginning of OPO5. So to me, Sakazuki was a really hard match because it's a different ideal. Like I feel like they always get back everything. It can tempo you, I guess you could say. Like they don't even need to have a board, and I don't know where they get it back, especially on a mirror match. It's like, oh, they get a card. All right, so we're gonna go Rebecca, Hina, Lucci. Get back your 2K, so on. It's always a whole thing about, oh, I'm gonna get brand new turn one, and then the next turn I'm gonna go ahead and Hound Blaze you with a 6K brand new, and so on. Yeah, so that match, from my recollection of things, it was pretty straightforward in that we were grinding it out. I constantly, what I said to myself, the reason why I made the deck was to have rush on the deck because I feel like cards don't stay on the board long enough to being validated, so they need to have an immediate effect. So like an on play or rush, and that's why I did not play the 4/6s, the Frankies, the Atmoses, or anything higher like Thatches or King Deuce. I did not play them. I straight up play Searcher, Soro, Purple, Rush Luffy, Ace, Newgate. Newgate was like kind of like the French one, I would say, because it can easily die to Sakazuki, I think. Just like how Sakazuki can counter out Big Mom or Katakuri or Yamato. So that was my game plan. I just rushed. I always went for face every time. I hardly ever went against the characters that were rested because the way I felt about it was, well, if the characters are like 3K or 0 or 5, you gotta put Dawn to attack it, or they gotta put Dawn to kill off my characters. So I almost always went for life, and I think that was a strategy that not a lot of players knew how to react to because they were always used to like, oh, they're gonna attack my Kusan, they're gonna attack my brand new, they're gonna attack my Lucci, I'm gonna get him back, with my Mancherie or Rebecca effect and whichever. So I wasn't doing that, and I was just going straight face, and it always came down to like me gathering resources through the match and getting enough counter to lay down Newgate so I could have a big body and a boosted attack value for my leader, or have enough to counter their all in. So like I don't fully recall, there were many instances where this happened. They will go all in, put all tendon on their leader, Sabo, Borsalino, blocker, or the big one, and I will counter it, and that is all the gas they had, and I just went whoop. So that would pretty much set him up open to get lethal. So it was I ended up winning that round 2. Round 3 is when they integrated all the 2-round by players, and I had a really weird match because I played against Rosinante. I did not expect to see this deck in tournament, and this guy, I told him from the very beginning, hey, I appreciate what you're doing. I love green. I love this deck. I'm glad you're playing this, and I'm glad I'm playing you. And probably it would have backfired, and I would have gotten smooshed, but it was a very close game, and I think what made me successful was that I stuck to my strategy and didn't falter because this man was a G. He baby fight and bodied me a grand total of 6 times at the very beginning of the game. Search for a Poos, search for the blocker Rosinante, search for a drop kid on curve, and played it on curve. And I think what saved me the most was the fact that I actually played every character in my hand and I guarded every character in my hand, because me saving my characters and going ace to reduce a drop kit and going, all right, Soro 5, Marco swing, ace swing again, Newgate swing, whichever. That led him to expend every single one of his resources to the point where he had no cards left in hand, and I can go, all right, put one in ace, eight to a drop kit, and he couldn't defend it anymore. He had no more blockers. He had no more cards to counter. And after I got rid of that A drop kit, he was already low in hand, and his life was low because he did take life via the blocker effect. So from the leader. So I won that round. So I was currently at the time 3-0. And then I moved on to my next round where I played Jacob Way, who actually ended up going top 64 in the main event. And that was a very hard match. I felt like the tempo was going back and forth a little bit, but he had the upper hand most of the time. And then what happens was that we had reached end of time, and a judge came by to us, but I told him, yeah, it's okay, man, don't worry about it. We're going to end right now. Because he spread it correctly to the point where if he had all in me, I could have, I believe from what I recall, that I could have countered everything out, but he chose to spread it, and therefore, if I would have been all in, I could have gone, okay, here's everything. I saved myself. But he went swing, draw my card, swing, draw my card. And then, I ran out of cards. So you win. So that's how you got the win. And it was a very deserved win for him. So I don't feel bad about it. That was a very good game. Pleasure meeting you. I'm glad you got to top. So I'll see you in the next event. And next was a Katakuri. And normally Katakuri is a good matchup for Whitebeard, but here and there we have their setbacks where it's like they can Amaru your Marco, they can base you, they can, be Casino Kuri. But then again, that is the nature of the game, that is the nature of the color, so can't complain about it. I had a very good head start. I was just rushing it out, taking all life that I can because I wanted him to be as little as life as possible before he 10-drop bombs me. And he sacked a couple of good cards out of his hand because he pulled off trigger Amaru. He let go of a Thunderbolt and a Big Mom, I think. And then he let go of something else with a Sanji blocker from life. And then he got another Amaru, and he let go of something big. I forget that had no count. I think he let go of a 10-drop bomb. But yeah, that happened. And then he had self-Katakuri'd his own Sanji to get a blocker on the last life. And so he had 2 life. But I had enough bodies and to go for a full swing all in. He had I think 2 cards in hand, I think. So I just went for it, and I went swing, and he takes the first life, and it's a beige. I'm like, and then unfortunately, me doing the math, and it's like, well, I have to go for this because if he puts 10 on that category, I cannot guard 18. So I'm like, okay, well, he froze my new gaze. I'm like, well, what can I do, So I tried it out, and I went ace, attack, counter. I went Newgate attack, takes the life, gets a Sanji out, and then I'm like, well, I play Soro, blocks, and then I think it was, I don't fully recall the sequence, and then I went oh, well, I'm gonna go Searcher, Makino, and he had the counter. It's like, okay, well, you got it. Don't fully recall the exact sequence, but all I know is that I needed that Newgate to be active to attack to take it because he had exact to survive for what I had without the Newgate. So me having that Newgate be alive would have made the difference, I think. But yeah, good game. That is Katakuri. That is an L. That happens, So lost that round. And then moving on to round 6. I played against an L, and it's a matchup I don't really have much experience with because I don't fully understand yet when is a good time to take life against it, or should I rush into playing Newgate, or how do I go about it? And that is personally my fault because, again, I have a full-time job, and I go only of what I personally experience, and it has not been a good time when we playing against NL, unfortunately. So this was actually one of the repairs that I had. I was originally gonna play Sakazuki player, and then I got moved to a table where I played the guy next to me, which was an Elm, and this man opened godly. This man had the Ohm Holy Combo, blocker Sanji, and he just had the pressure of swings and swings and swings, and unfortunately I couldn't keep up with that, and I didn't have enough to guard anything. So he won that game, and I ended up being 3-3 so far. Then moving on to the seventh round, um, I actually played the guy who was supposed to play the prior round. So it was a Sakazuki match, and then he had a lot of momentum going playing his blockers, and it was hard to get rid of his blockers, man, because he had so many. He played, I think, every blocker, and it came to the point where he all in me with Sabo, if I recall. I'm like, okay, wrap beam, guard point, or some combination like that. So I counter out of that, and he conceded because he ran out of gas. But what happens is he said that my other option would have been to pay for Rebecca and for Borsellino. But to then I was like, well, let me see. Top deck. My top deck was Rush Luffy. So I was blessed enough to have the game be countering out. But if I gone to a plan B and put on two blockers on top of his already two blockers that he had, I would have gone Rush Luffy and won. So that was another win that I had. And then I moved on to round 9. Round 9 was a very random match. I played against RP Law, and this is a deck I had zero experience playing against as Whitebeard. But after getting the hang of the basics of the deck, it's like they don't have much done because they're always minusing to do the effect for a leader, right? And they can't really do much with it because Whitebeard has really high cost and attack cards. So they have to like put a lot of time into it or per day blockers. And it was very competitive despite the disadvantage that RP Law has. And it came to a point where he spread 4 or 5 attacks. I'm like, counter, counter, counter. And then he has 3 Dawn left. And he does a leader effect and goes for Zoro. I'm like, oh baby, because if I would have countered anything in the wrong sequence, I would have lost because my last card in my hand was a rat beam. So I rat beamed against a 6k attack as a Whitebeard, you know, and that was the game because he ran out of gas and I was able to counter everything he had, and I went just swing game. Then on the last final round, we had our we didn't know at the time, of course. We had our soft repair where we got moved like by a table or two, and I was originally gonna play against NL. We already shuffled, mulliganed, everything. We're ready to play, and we moved. And I ended up playing the guy next to me, and another cool guy. Really competitive match, super. It's always a hard time playing against Sakazuki because like so consistent. They always get the cards they need. But against Sakazuki with Whitebeard, it's like I want to get my cards out. Always play a body no matter what. Poke at them. Make sure they spend cards because you're gonna have to gamble if the one card they have left in their hand is important or not. So ultimately, he came to a point where he was like, "Well, I'm gonna all in you, and if you got it, you got it." And I don't fully recall if it was Sabo or Borsellino, but I think he went Borsellino all in, and he went Borsellino, and I went counter, 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 and I had enough to counter out the attack, and then he conceded the game because on the crackback I was gonna swing him out for game. So yeah, and with that I ended up going 7-3 at the One Piece card game North American final. I did play into Purple Luffy, 5 Sakazukis. I beat the Purple Luffy. I beat 4 out of 5 Sakazukis. I beat 1 Rosinante. I beat 1 RP Law. And then unfortunately, I lost to one of the Sakazukis, who was Jacob Way, who managed to top 64. And I lost also to a Katakuri and an L. So overall, I can't say that I can't complain despite me not putting enough hours into the game like some of you guys, because you guys are fiends, man. You guys dedicate your entire time to this game. Unfortunately, I got a full-time job and I also do this content creation thing. So my only time off to play games is like late at night, like me right now, where I'm normally recording this. I'll be playing Sim, talking with friends, deck making. And so it was really cool that I managed to get this far in the tournament, despite me having not played half the season, where I was just straight up just hardcore judging. I judged the first DLB, the first Pressure Cups, the first regionals. I went to Miami, Peoria. I judged all these online events, Pressure Cups, regionals. And then finally I started playing, and I played at the third Peoria. I played at Pasadena's. I was getting more game time in, but that was a format where Whitebeard had already fallen out because Whitebeard was playing the limited version with the one Newgate, or eventually it got to the point where Whitebeard was banned. So I couldn't really play the deck. I had to play Green Purple Duffy, and despite sounding as simple as it sounds, it didn't click with me. But yeah, it was awesome that I got to have such a good record. It's not X2, it's not X1, it's not winning the whole tournament, but it was, I think, a serviceable record for someone that has not put in the time compared to some of you guys who are absolute beasts in this game, and you guys are crazy good. You guys are insane. Y'all go top events, you win them. Garrett, Cross, Grayson, Jackson, you're all amazing. So like me being someone that plays on the side for fun, managing to get X3 with a deck that I really like and have always favored since its inception, thanks to Garrett. I'm really thankful the way the tournament ended. I would have liked to had one more round, and I would have felt more at peace knowing that I finished 8-3 or 7-4. But things happen. It's done. What else can you do? So all I can do now is learn a new deck, and hopefully do better next year. So with that, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you sitting through my tournament report for the first ever One Piece card game North American Finals. Once again, I'm gonna put on the deck over here so you can see the picture. And thank you guys for watching.